Today we're going to build this box, and it's made out of birch and madrone. Okay, so today we're going to build out of this madrone and birch a box. So you just got to make sure that they're basically the same diameter. And so you got to go through a lot of wood to try and find it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it close. So we have to clean these up, get rid of all these, and prepare the wood a little bit. So we're going to do this with the bandsaw. We're just going to buzz off all these little limbs here. So the planning stage, this is the straighter piece of the two. So that'll be the long side of the box. For example, this is 7 1/4 and this is 15. So we can do 7-inch sides, a little shorter than this. And this box is 5 1/4 inches deep, I guess you would call it. So now we need to see if we can get, I'm gonna say 5 would be nice, but 4 will be okay, because there's not too much straightness here. Yeah, we might be able to pull that off here and here. So we'll take it to the chop saw and see what happens. So they come together nice. So now we just simply have to cut this over on the bandsaw flat to make the inside of the box. And so they can glue them together as well. All right. So we're gonna take about that much off for starters, and then, kind of sneak our way up to it. We'll use the fence here. Inside of the box, that'll be the outside of the box. Now we just do it for all the others. Thought this was pretty important. So you look at the wood and find out, like, that doesn't look bad, that doesn't look bad. This part right here, I don't know if the camera's getting this or not, but that's the part I want to cut off. So when I line this up, like so, that's what I need to cut off on the bandsaw. Okay, so now for the ends here, you line it up right there. Make your mark on the madrone, and that's how much you need to cut off to get the miters to work. Over to the disc sander to clean up these bandsaw marks. And it also makes it good and flat too. Okay, so after thinking about this for a while, if I miter these, it's gonna make it too small. So I'm simply going to cut that off at the bandsaw and glue it together like that. Over to the sander. So that went right to the pencil mark where I couldn't get it with the bandsaw. So I'll do all that to do this to every other one. Okay, so before doing the next piece, as you can see, this one's rounded off and this one needs to be rounded off. You need to mock it up. So I'm gonna put this together with some tape and then I'll know exactly where to cut the other one with the bandsaw. Okay, quick check for square. Pretty darn square. So now bring in your other piece and mark where you want to cut them. Okay, so there's the basic idea. Very little gaps. It's nice and square. By far, one of the most useful tools is this strap clamp. You can still see it's perfectly square. Got a little gap right there, but once I put some clamps on it, it should be good. So we're ready to glue it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark and number, so that way I know how they go back together. Okay, so here I use the Tight Bond quick and thick glue. The other stuff runs too much and you end up with a whole lot of squeeze out. We want to limit the squeeze out. All right, here's probably the toughest part. The tape is there just to keep it from falling. That's all. The clamps are going to do most of the holding. Trying to clean the squeeze out. It's hard to see on camera, I'm sure, but I get it out of there because it's already, this is a very fast drying glue. Out in the sun to dry up. Come back in a couple hours and that should be set. All right, the moment of truth. Let's see how we did here. One of the keys here is which ones you're going to determine is the top and the bottom, because you need to cut that off on the bandsaw. You want it sitting flat on the counter, so you'll come in and cut it, you know, like that. Whichever one you determine is going to be the bottom. So we'll go over to the bandsaw and cut the back of it off and use this as the top. Bottom, B for bottom. And you got to be real careful here. So this is going to be the bottom. So we're going to run this through the bandsaw and take like maybe a 1/2 inch out of it. Super handy little tool. These blocks. Yeah, I'm going to go like 1/4 of an inch. So let's try and do it with 1/4 of an inch. And then then we can always take a little more off if we need to. Bottom. All right, here we go. Flat. Really take your time here. Okay, now moving to this sander. It's a little less aggressive, so. Now go with a little less aggressive sandpaper and keep working. Okay, so I took it down with a DA with 180, and now I've got some 220 just to knock off some of those birch flakes. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do now, well, I didn't really work on these edges too much. These edges are sharp, so just take a block sander, you know, and just chamfer those edges just a little bit. You want to make sure you do that before you put the bottom on, because you won't be able to access it correctly. Okay, a little more fine tuning and we're ready to put the bottom on. So now to make the bottom, I just had a couple of pieces of Madrone laying out there, and I'm gonna take them to the bandsaw and make them 1/4 inch thick, and that'll make a flat. Okay, bottom. So you want to get the widest part of the board to cover the bottom, so you can see how it's higher here than it is there. So we want to cut the high portion. All right. Still recording? Yep. All right, now that we got a flat side, we're going to set that to 1/4 of an inch. All right. So now that we have a flat side, we just start trimming out 1/4 inch pieces. All right, let's start cutting out our floor strips here, or bottom of the box. Yeah. All right, let's see how we did here. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So we'll just square up these edges, and that'll fit perfectly. Okay, so now we're gonna make the bottom of the drawer, so we have to square these edges up. All right, so we got them all squared up nice. Now we just gotta cut them to the proper width. All right, let's see how we did. Looks perfect. So here is the bottom of the box. I left these two sides natural because the Madrone looked really nice. And then that sits right on there. We just gotta clean up all these bandsaw marks on the... We just gotta clean up all these bandsaw marks over at the disc sander. So we're gonna use a little CA glue to glue these bottoms together, like so. We use that same CA glue to glue the box onto the bottom of the box. We're going to seal it with some satin lacquer.